Carol sat motionless, reading the article, the glow of the bedside lamp making a small, obedient island of light in the dark. The headline had promised rest like a reward. Hearing a bedtime story can help you sleep and boost concentration. The words felt like a whisper aimed only at her, a hook set gently in her tired mind. She smiled, thin and hopeful. A bedtime story. Imagine that. She had not been read to in decades. She had no book to hand, no soothing voice waiting in the wings. Well then, she murmured to the room, I'll have to do. She turned off the lamp, and the darkness folded over her like a blanket still warm from the dryer. Flat on her back, hands folded on her chest, she began to tell herself a story, silently, carefully, as if her thoughts were only borrowed. At first, the story behaved. She imagined a path, a simple one, through a field. But the mind, once invited, rarely arrives alone. It came trailing shadows. Her thoughts wandered without permission, like an untrained dog slipping its lead, and soon the field darkened, the path disappeared. Images crowded in. News headlines replayed themselves with cruel clarity. Wars gnawed at cities like rust on iron. Children suffering in places she could not pronounce. Humanity's cruelty stood tall and unashamed, a bully in broad daylight. Then came nature, indifferent and immense. Fires that devoured like hungry animals, floods that swallowed communities whole, storms that beat like angry fists and then moved on. Accident and confusion joined the chorus. A missed traffic signal, a wrong turn, a moment's distraction, lives ended and families scarred forever. The darkness seemed to listen. The walls leaned closer. The clock on her dresser ticked as if a disappointed teacher recording impatience at her failure to rest. She tried to redirect the tale, but her thoughts betrayed her. Again the images returned, again the grief, again the helplessness. The mind, she realized, was not a cradle, but a courtroom, replaying evidence of everything that had gone wrong. Her heart ached. Her breathing shortened. Long sentences of sorrow tangled themselves together, and then short ones, sharp ones. Enough! Stop! This isn't working. Frustration rose within her, bitter and bright. She had wanted calm. She had wanted sleep. Instead, she had upset herself, stirred the sediment at the bottom of her soul. Her exercise meant for peace had only delivered pain. She turned onto her side. The pillow was cool and smelled faintly of clean cotton. You're doing it wrong, she scolded. The words felt both true and unhelpful. Then, without warning, a memory wearing very different clothes arrived. It was a quieter thought of a neighbour, Mrs. Denton from next door, with her careful knock and her casserole wrapped in foil, appearing the week Carol's knee had given out. She remembered the steam rising, the smell of carrots and care, the way help had arrived, not with a red carpet, but with food. The memory was detailed, tender. It stayed. Another followed. The local charity down the road, the one with the peeling blue sign, where volunteers sorted donations with soft hands and even softer voices. Carol had seen them last winter, laughing despite the cold, passing out blankets like blessings. Charity, she realized, was not an abstract noun, but a series of small, stubborn acts. And then the child's voice she had overheard just that morning in the local store, a boy no more than 6 tugging on his mother's sleeve. "We should get extra," he had said, earnest as sunrise, "in case someone else needs some." The words had landed with her then, and landed again now, an unsullied soul shining its light into the world. The terrible things that had first come to her mind had not vanished. They stood where they had always stood, but now they were no longer alone. Her breathing slowed, her bed seemed to soften. Even the clock's ticking changed character, no longer scolding, but steady, a metronome marking safety. She understood then that peace did not come from denying the darkness. It came from choosing each day to light a candle anyway. Her own efforts, small, imperfect, were her answer. Holding a door, making a call, listening, trying, doing her best. The best she could do was enough. Her mind, once a storm, became a tide easing back. She thought of tomorrow. She could check on Mrs. Denton. She could drop off tins at the charity. She could smile at the child in the store, pass the kindness forward like loose change. Her thoughts grew slower, softer. Tomorrow can wait. Sleep arrived without announcement. Carol drifted off, carried by the simple truth that while the world would always bruise, it would also always mend. And tonight, for the first time in a long while, she slept deeply, soundly, content that she would play her part.